Welcome to Papa Junk Shop. Now working on the carriage for the lathe, and I got the apron off, got it pretty well cleaned up. I don't think it was ever painted, so I think I'm gonna leave it that way. I didn't tear everything off because it seems like it's really clean and everything seems to be in good shape, so I'm just going to leave that part of it alone. I did take the handles off and clean them up and clean the face of it up and stuff. But I did find a few interesting things. When I took this apron off, these screws were the ones that were in there. They're pretty tore up, so I'm going to replace them with some Allen cap screws. And this is what rides along the bottom of the lathe bed, and there's one of those missing on the back side, so I'm going to have to make one of these. The nut for the cross slide seems to be in really good shape. It looks like somebody might have made a new one for it, actually, because it's really good. So this goes in here, and then this is the screw that goes with this nut. And they had 2 pennies crammed in the back here up against that. They were wedged in there pretty good to make up the end plate. And I think what's supposed to happen here is that this goes like that, and then the handle goes here, and this would be where you take up the end plate. That, or you could make shims and put back in here to make up for it. So when I was looking it over, I noticed that this end is not square. There's a big dip in it there. So I'm going to have to machine this flat and then get rid of all that excess end plate. And the Gibbs screws are just slotted screws. They don't have any nuts or anything on them, so I think I'm going to go with some longer ones with the Allen head and put some nuts on them so they'll stay. Let's see what else. Everything else seemed to be nice shape. I guess as I go along, I run into something that I need to make you aware of, I'll do that. So I'm going to get started on resolving some of these issues. As I've been tearing this apart, cleaning it up, I noticed something. Well, I noticed it before, but this kind of reminded me. All these parts, when I've been cleaning them up, I'm finding the number stamped in them. And I don't know if you're going to be able to see it. Right there is a number 2. And like the headstock had a number 2 stamped in it, and the bearing caps had a number 2 stamped on them, and printing all the castings so far have had a number 2 stamped in it. So I'm wondering if this is like a serial number, if this is number 2, and there's one right here. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it or not. Probably not. I get it just right. Maybe right there. But all the threads and stuff seem to be in good shape. One thing that I did find, now I gotta get this out of there, yeah. This is really strange. One part that I did find that I'm not liking the looks of is this. I don't know why we've got all these marks on here where something's banged into it. But hopefully I'm going to be able to dress that up. This other part looks fine that it rides on. So, and I could put it in the surface grinder and redo that if I could figure out how to hold the thing. There isn't anything on there that looks like it's flat and parallel, except these. Don't know, I'm gonna have to think about it, figure out something. But I just thought that was kind of interesting. Maybe you'd like to know. Well, I decided to take a chance on trying to regrind that. What I did is I put this side down first on the magnetic vise, and I ground that top side that was pretty rough where the tool post sits. I think I took 23 thousandths off of that to get it so it was flat. Then I flipped it over, and I've taken a couple of passes off, and it's truing up pretty nice. I'm going to take one more pass, I think 1/1000th of an inch, and we're going to call it good. So I'm going to dial up another thousandths right there. Oh, there's still just a wee little bit right there where I haven't touched. So maybe I'll take 1/1000th off, and I'll take her off the tripod and show you how she looks. Yeah, I can't really get a good look with it on there, I guess. Get it off of there. Take it over here. There you can see. You can see just one little spot, like right here, where it didn't quite go all the way down. But I'm not going to push my lock. I don't want to take any more off, and I have to just to get her nice and level. And that's what I did to the other side to get it parallel, I guess you'd say. So I think I'm happy with that now. I'm ready to make the riser block for the tool post, and I'm going to make it in 2 pieces. It's going to be out of steel. I got some 1.5 inch thick by 6 inch. This is 6 inches steel. So I'm going to make one piece for here, and I'm going to offset a second piece here so that I can get more distance away from the center too. And I'm going to make it out of steel because I want it to be good and sturdy. But I've run into a couple of problems, which I've run into before, and I've always either changed my plans or something. So this time I'm going to change my machinery. I don't like to modify things, but I think I'm gonna, because I run into it before, and I decided I'm gonna do it this time. So the first one is the bandsaw. Of course, it says it's a 4x6, but it's not really. You might be able to get, well, it's only 4 inches that way. And the 6 inches are here, which doesn't do you any good because this is in the way. So I've run into this before quite often, and this is, my plasma cutter is only good for like inch, so I'm not even going to attempt it. So I'm going to take this off, and I've made a little piece of, I don't know what it is, 3/4 maybe, square stock. And I'm going to bolt that right there with these Allen cap screws. I got to drill and tap that yet. And what that's going to do is tip this up. Then I can move this up here like so. And I realize this isn't going to clamp a lot of things, but it's going to work for this, and it may work for some other things. And now I've got the clearance I need. So when I get this cut off, that's not going to fit in my vise on my milling machine either. And you know, I suppose I could clamp it on the table and all that stuff, but then that causes problems when you got machine work you want to do on the whole thing, because the clamps are in the way. So I'm going to modify my vise as much as I don't like to. Now, I know some of the newer vices, you can bring this jaw back here, and I thought about trying to do something like that, but if I do that and I go from here to here, I still wouldn't be able to clamp that piece that I want to clamp because it would be too big, and I've only got that height to work with. So I don't think putting like a parallel or something in there to take up the space would give it enough support. So I decided to go with, I'm going to mount that baby right there, and I'm going to drill it and tap this right over these holes that already exist. So I don't think it's going to do any damage to anything, and I'll just get one hole done first, and I'll get this so that it's all parallel with everything, then I'll get my second hole. So I'm going to spend a half a day modifying the machine so I can continue on with the other project. But that's what makes it all fun, I guess. So see you when I get those things done. One down, one to go. Probably come back tomorrow and see if it's done. 20 minutes into it. Doing better than I thought, actually. The blade's almost disappeared up here, not quite. That's my setup for gonna drill these holes to tap. So I used some 1, 2, 3 blocks, get everything nice and square. So gonna go ahead and do that. That bandsaw is still running. Hour and 10 minutes it took to cut that off. And a little bit after half an hour, I touched the motor and I thought I didn't have any fingerprints anymore. So I set a fan up in front of it to keep it cool. That seemed to cure it because it's just warm now. So apparently that motor doesn't have very good cooling. So I got this done while that was cutting. So guys, don't yell at me for drilling holes in my vise. I really didn't want to, but I've run into this so many times when I wanted to hold something that just wouldn't quite fit. So there she goes. They say it's not something you want to do heavy machining with, but because you don't have a lot grabbing on, but I think it'll work fine for what I want to do. Now I got to cut another piece like this, so another hour and 10 minutes. Now I goofed again. I lost the video. I used the card for some other recording and I accidentally erased part of this project. So I got this laid out and the holes all drilled, counterbored these because the second one's going to go over top of here to offset it back here. So I got that part done, and I needed to thin this down a little bit. So my vise worked well for that, and I got it counterbored for the center, and I got one corner lopped off, and I got it set up to do the other corner. And as you can see, of course, it wouldn't fit in there, so I got a cobble job for holding it. But worked fine for the first one, so I don't see any reason why it shouldn't work for the second one. So I'm going to get that done, and then it's a matter of getting this mounted onto the other part. So I'm going to go ahead and get this sawed off. Now I temporarily set it up, picked out a tool post I'm going to use, and it was still a little bit too high, so I'm shaving a little off the bottom piece now. I'm cutting the taper on the front edge of it, the part that goes towards your work, give it a little more clearance. I just drilled these 4 holes and tapped them, and they are for this. And they will go like so. And I can get my angle with a cross slide. And then to go the rest of the way, we got 2 more at this end. These grooves aren't exactly in the same plane, so then I can turn it this way. So I want to get 90 degrees. think next is I got to counterbore these because this sits on top. And they're going to be to bolt this on the other piece, and then I'm going to come up through from the bottom on the other piece into the back side of this. But I'm not going to do that until I get this done. That way they'll be all in the exact right place. So going to get that counterbored and the other part drilled and tapped. Okay, I got her bolted down on the mill, got the counterbore in there. Got one done, got my DRO set for 0, so when I move over here to this one, that will be all set. Just get her centered. Lock the tables. A little cutting juice. Didn't get any chattering on the last one. I don't know what that's all about. That better. Maybe I was being too gentle. About 100 thousandths to go. 50 thousandths to go. 25. 10. 5, 4, 3, 2, 0. Yep. So that's done. Got all the holes drilled and tapped to hold the two pieces together, so got it in the mill now, just evening everything up, making it look pretty, I guess. This should be the final cut for the one side. Okay, it's missing one of these. It goes on the back side of the carriage underneath. I got one. I copied this one. It's in the bandsaw, about ready to cut off. Okay, got the carriage set back on. The new piece I just made is back here. This is the one that I copied. There's one here in the front, and there's one over here in the front, and this acts as the carriage lock. And I got them all adjusted so it's nice and snug. I can crank it from one end to the other. There's no tight spots. So I think we're all set there. And I also got this stuck back together. I'm trying to find some longer screws for in here. They had them screwdriver slot ones that were all tore up and they went back in. There's no lock nuts. So I had two for here, but I went to a couple hardware stores and of course they don't have what I want as usual. So I'm going to hunt around for a couple of those. And I got this all put back together. Seems nice and tight. So now I think I'm ready to assemble the riser block for here. Okay, you can see if I loosen these that I can angle this, and then, you know, if that's not the angle I need, then I can just pop these out. And we've got another set here. Do the same. So we got that selection. So, what do I do? Oh, here it is. Okay, so this will be the next part of the project, is getting this back on there. It'll go like so, and then I'm planning on using this tool post. Let's see. There. This was one that I had for my other lathe, and I got a newer one for it. So I think this is going to work fine for this. The only thing is I have to make an adapter for here to replace that lantern tool post. And I have a piece of stock here which just fits the inside of the hole. So I got to turn it down so it comes up through here, and it'll come just a little shy of this area with a hole down through to hold that. So I'm going to work on that before I get this assembled. So that'll be the next part of the project. And I can show you, I think, if I run this over here. Let me move the camera. Turn it off. Okay, I got the camera repositioned, so you can see I'll have this much movement. So that should put me in the right range for most everything I want to do, I believe. If not, I can always go back to the lantern tool post. But I'm going to use this one because I've only got the one tool that came with it, which is this one. So I've got some bits, I guess you call it, that would fit in there, but this is the only one of this size that I have, so I'm going to go with this. keep my eye out for some more of these. So I'm going to get started on getting this going. Okay, I got the adapter made for the tool post. It's just got a ledge on it, the same as the lantern tool post had. And it just drops in. Like so. And then it's just a little bit shorter than this, so that when you clamp it down, the tool post actually rests on this. And of course on my trial fit, this wanted to spin, so what I did is I just drilled a hole right at the intersection for a set screw, grub screw, whatever you prefer to call it. That'll prevent it from, well, I didn't have it in place. It's off one thread. There we go. That goes like so. And now, when I put this on, it doesn't turn. So that's going to go like that. Seems to do okay. If for some reason it needs a little more taken off, it's not a big deal. I can just pop it in the lathe and take a little more off it. So, get this mounted back on the lathe. Okay, I got the compound mounted. Seems like everything's going to work out okay. The only issue that I run into is when I got it in this position, that's as far as I can go because this hits. So I could clip these corners off, I guess, like I did up here. But I can do that later. I think I'm just going to leave it like that for now. So, I think we'll call this a video. Our next endeavor is probably going to be, I don't know, maybe I'll see if I can figure out how to get a chuck mounted on here so we can actually try it, and then we can address the lead screw issue with the gears over there. So if you enjoyed it, give me a thumbs up and please subscribe, and we'll see you next time.